counting their winnings one step at a time. The Syrian army proudly display missiles, bombs, and the thousands of rounds of ammunition they've seized from the enemy. Armed groups that are still active in the region but are slowly losing ground. Above all, this display is the result of years of effort to retake control of the country.
To have seized this much ammunition is incredible. 160,000 bullets of various calibers.
Whether these weapons belong to rebels who oppose Bashar al-Assad's regime or to jihadists, they're all considered terrorists in the eyes of the government.
Of course, uncovering so many weapons and ammo is a huge victory for us. It will deal the terrorists a heavy blow and will have a considerable impact on their operations. They'll be weakened, and it'll be harder for them to carry out attacks in Damascus or nearby.
Syrian authorities are determined to ensure the safety of residents living in the capital. While Damascus remains a target for armed groups in the region, local residents are without doubt. Bashar al-Assad has won the war.
We spent 8 years living in fear. It was total panic. But it's over now, even though we lost a lot during that time.
Of course we won the war, no one can argue with that. And as long as our president is in power, everything will be fine in Syria.
The country has been torn apart by 8 years of war. 360,000 people have died, 5 million Syrians have fled as refugees, and just as many are displaced within their own country. The government is determined to prove it's taken back control and that things are going back to normal, that it's safe for Syrians to return home. This checkpoint on the Jordan border was recently recaptured by the army after 5 years of rebel control. Families who'd fled to Jordan are now queuing up to go back home.
I've been waiting for this day for 4 years. I decided to come back as soon as I found out they'd liberated Deraa and that it was safe. I've got my pass. We're going home.
1 million Syrians sought refuge in Jordan. Despite calls from the government, only 12,000 families have crossed the border in the past 3 months.
I can't wait to go home.
Thank God the war is over, it's finished.
Bashar al-Assad wants this checkpoint to become a symbol of his control over the country. But in reality, half of the checkpoints are still in the hands of his enemies. And Syria's economy is far from stable. Rebuilding diplomatic ties remains a challenge for the government. While the United Arab Emirates have reopened their embassy, France is yet to provide any support to the Syrian authorities. France closed its embassy in 2012, and the building remains abandoned. Litter scattered across the grounds, and diplomatic cars parked outside for the past 7 years. A hostile climate, as Syria and France remain strongly at odds with each other.
Those who took part in this terrorist assault on Syria are not invited to take part in this process.
So that includes France then?
Yes, France above all. France must stop interfering with Syrian matters. It must respect our government and stop supporting terrorism.
So if it agrees to this, will France be able to reopen its embassy?
Yes, of course.
France's involvement in the US-led coalition came as a clear blow to the Syrian government, and after 8 years of war that have failed to topple Bashar al-Assad's regime, France continues to push for a political transition in Syria through free and fair elections.